Episode 117, Witty Solo Travel Comedy.
Now, let's talk about one of my favorite things, traveling solo. Yeah, you heard me right, I said solo. Going on a trip all by yourself can be quite an adventure. It's like being in a real-life episode of Survivor, minus the cameras and Jeff Probst. First of all, when you're traveling solo, you have the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. You don't have to worry about coordinating with friends or compromising on destinations. It's like being the king or queen of your own travel kingdom. You can wake up whenever you feel like it, spend hours exploring hidden gems, or just lounge by the beach with a cocktail in hand. No arguments, no negotiations, just pure, unadulterated bliss. But let's be real, there are some challenges to solo travel too. For starters, there's the whole issue of taking selfies. Now, I don't know about you, but my selfie game is weak. I try to capture that perfect angle, but instead, I end up looking like a confused flamingo. And then there's that awkward moment when someone catches you mid-selfie, and you have to pretend you're just admiring the architecture or contemplating the meaning of life while holding your phone at a ridiculous angle. It's a skill, my friends, a skill that I'm still trying to master. Another thing about traveling solo is dining alone. Eating alone at a restaurant can feel like being on a blind date with yourself. You sit there, pretending to check your phone, hoping nobody notices your loneliness. And then the waiter comes over and asks, "Table for one?" And you're like, "No, actually, I'm waiting for my invisible friend. He's running late, as always." But hey, dining alone can also be liberating. You can eat whatever you want without any judgment. Ice cream for breakfast? Sure, why not? Pizza for dessert? Go for it. It's your own personal food fiesta. Now, let me tell you a little anecdote about my solo travel misadventure. I once found myself lost in a foreign city, trying to navigate through a maze of narrow streets. I was armed with a map that looked like it was drawn by a toddler on a sugar rush. As I desperately tried to find my way, a local approached me and offered to help. But here's the thing, their English was as limited as my sense of direction. We had a hilarious game of charades, with me attempting to describe my destination and them pointing in various directions. It was like a low-budget pantomime production, and I was the star who didn't have a clue. But you know what? That's the beauty of traveling solo. It's not just about the destinations, it's about the unexpected moments, the laughter, and the stories that become a part of your journey. So, embrace the humor in traveling solo. Laugh at yourself when you take those ridiculous selfies, enjoy your own company at the dinner table, and cherish those moments of confusion that turn into unforgettable memories. Now, let's dive into the world of solo travel and find the humor in those fearless adventurers who hit the road alone. So, traveling solo, huh? It's like being a detective on an endless quest for fun. You become a master of disguise, blending in with the locals while trying not to look like a lost tourist. It's like playing hide and seek, but instead of a cozy living room, you're in a bustling marketplace where everyone is trying to sell you a trinket or two. But seriously, there's something exhilarating about exploring the world on your own. You're the captain of your own destiny, the ruler of your itinerary. You can wake up whenever you want, eat breakfast at midnight, and stroll through ancient ruins without anyone judging your questionable selfie-taking skills. It's liberating, until you realize you have no one to blame when you get lost. GPS can only do so much when you're in the labyrinthine streets of some exotic city. The fun part about solo travel is the conversations you have with yourself. You become your own travel buddy, and let me tell you, the internal monologues can get pretty interesting. It's like having a committee meeting in your head where you debate whether it's worth climbing that treacherous mountain for the view or if it's better to stay in bed and binge-watch travel documentaries. Spoiler alert, Netflix usually wins. Now, I've had my fair share of solo travel adventures, and let me tell you about this one time when I ended up in a remote village where nobody spoke English. I tried using my hand gestures and facial expressions to communicate, but I must have looked like a deranged Muppet on a caffeine overdose. I even attempted to imitate local accents, but instead of blending in, I probably sounded like a malfunctioning robot attempting Shakespeare. And then there's the dining experience. Eating alone in a foreign country can be an adventure in itself. You sit there, with your phrasebook in hand, trying to decipher the menu. You point at a random item, hoping it won't turn out to be a plate of deep-fried grasshoppers or something equally exotic. But hey, it's all part of the cultural immersion, right? But perhaps the best part about solo travel is the people you meet along the way. Strangers become friends, and friends become temporary family. You bond over shared experiences, navigate foreign lands together, and laugh until your stomach hurts. And then you part ways, promising to stay in touch forever, knowing deep down that your only connection will be the occasional Facebook like. In conclusion, solo travel is a rollercoaster ride of emotions, a hilarious circus of cultural mishaps, and a journey of self-discovery. So, next time you see someone wandering alone with a giant backpack and a questionable sense of direction, give them a high five. Because they're not lost, they're just on an epic quest to find themselves, one ridiculous adventure at a time. So, traveling solo, huh? It's like stepping into an adventure where the main character is, well, just you. It's a unique experience that can range from eat, pray, love to lost in translation. And let me tell you, there's plenty of humor to be found along the way. First off, airports. The majestic temples of chaos and confusion. Have you ever noticed how everyone suddenly transforms into Olympic sprinters when their boarding gate is announced? I mean, I've seen people who've never jogged a day in their life dash through the airport like they're in the Olympics of carry-on luggage. And the security lines, oh boy. It's like a bizarre game of guess what's in my bag? You know, I always take extra care to leave the chainsaw and the pet crocodile at home, just to avoid any unnecessary delays. But no matter how prepared you are, they'll always find that one bottle of shampoo you forgot to put in the Ziploc bag. It's like the TSA agents have X-ray vision, specifically for toiletries. Now, let's talk about the actual flight. As a solo traveler, you're often seated next to strangers, and that can be interesting. Sometimes, you get lucky and end up next to someone fascinating, a retired astronaut or a celebrity. But most of the time, it's just you and a person who wants to discuss their entire family tree, starting from the great-grandparents. I mean, I appreciate their enthusiasm, but I didn't sign up for an impromptu genealogy lesson at 30,000 feet. And let's not forget about accommodation. As a solo traveler, you often end up in hostels. Now, hostels are like college dormitories for adults, where privacy is an elusive myth. I remember staying in a hostel once, and the person in the bunk above me snored so loudly, it was like a live performance of a chainsaw orchestra. I guess it's a good way to bond with strangers, through the mutual suffering of sleep deprivation. But you know what's truly amazing about traveling solo? The feeling of independence. There's something liberating about navigating unfamiliar streets, trying exotic foods, and getting lost in translation. You learn so much about yourself, like how many strange noises you can make trying to pronounce Quetzaltenango. Trust me, it's not as easy as it sounds. And the best part is, when you're traveling solo, you can be whoever you want to be. You can reinvent yourself, like a temporary superhero with a suitcase. Just remember, if you want to be a mysterious adventurer, make sure you don't accidentally leave your real name on the hotel check-in form. It tends to ruin the whole secret identity thing. In conclusion, traveling solo is a rollercoaster ride of laughter, confusion, and self-discovery. It's an opportunity to embrace the unexpected and come back home with stories that will make your friends question your sanity. But hey, that's what life is all about, right? Taking risks, stepping out of your comfort zone, and having a good laugh along the way.
And that wraps up another laughter-filled episode of Not So Funny A. If you enjoyed the jokes generated by our AI algorithms, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our comedy-loving community.